Trump, throughout his presidency, has done a lot of things that are beneficial to Israel. And I want to know, not even in an Israel-Palestine sense, do you think the current state of Israel are being a good ally to the US and the West as a whole?
That's a great question. The answer is definitely no. No, they're not being a good ally, never have been.
This is Nick Fuentes 5 years ago on a Zoom call, talking about how Israel is fucking us over back when everyone was convinced that they are our greatest ally in the Middle East. This aged so well. Nick knew more about what was going on with Netanyahu years ago than most America First converts do today.
And Donald Trump said, if you could stop the settlements, like that would be great. And in spite of everything we've given Israel just in the last 3 years, which is moving the embassy and recognizing the Golan Heights, their sovereignty, calling the IRGC a terrorist group, I mean, the list goes on. And not only do they not stop the settlements, they expand them at the most rapid pace in history, the biggest settlement expansion ever, like a week after that press conference. And they bomb Syria, they bomb Iraq, they create these tensions with Syria and Iran. So, I mean, just in the last 3 years, there's the spying scandal on the White House, just a treasure trove of things. And that's just recently. So
don't you see it very important that we stay allies with one of the last democracies in the Middle East?
No, I think they should be. Well, and here's to be serious. I think they should be more worried about keeping us as an ally. I mean, why is it incumbent on us to pay them and give more stuff, and there's no responsibility on their end to have any obligations or to be considerate of us? You know, I mean, it's
it should be a two-way street. They have responsibilities. We are the bigger nation. We can support more, therefore we can give more. It's not for this like one-for-one deal. And on top of that, keeping that nation a democracy and keeping that nation afloat should be a big investment of ours.
I think they're doing fine. They got one of the best economies in the Middle East, one of the best and most sophisticated militaries in the world. They've got a serious defense industry in Israel, more sophisticated than most.
Their tanks are more advanced than our Abrams.
What's that?
I said no. I mean, you're right. Their tanks, I think, are more technologically advanced than our Abrams are.
They're doing great over there. They don't need our help. And the thing is maybe we could help them, but they just do nothing but slap us in the face. The spying, the constant antagonism of Iran and Syria. I mean, we are just like paying to get abused. At a certain point, you got to rein them in. And we used to try to do that. When Israel was first formed back in 1948, there were successive presidents that tried to reel them in. Kennedy and Johnson and Nixon and Reagan. I mean, they tried to reel them in. And, they just gave up after a while. The crushing weight of the Israel lobby has made it such that nobody can oppose this state without massive retaliation. And that is not America first.
So, like in past YouTube videos, you semi-denied the Holocaust. Do you believe the Holocaust happened?
Of course I believe. I've never denied the Holocaust. I make jokes that are edgy, and then people say, oh, and this is the case with everything. I've done, more than 1,000 hours of content. It's largely a satire comedy show, and people take obvious jokes and, play it up. Oh, he's just, but I've maintained this consistently that I don't deny that it happened.
When it comes to Middle Eastern policy, do you feel like the U.S. should really kind of withdraw completely from the Middle East, or do you think we should have some sort of presence there, kind of just open-ended?
That's a good question. I probably differ from a lot of the people who watch my show, and I fight with them all the time on this. They want total isolation. I'm a believer that America has interests all over the world, and we should take care of our interests. And if that means having a base or, protecting a trade route, I mean, that's fine. But what we're looking at now is an occupation of many countries, not just Afghanistan and Iraq, but you've got troops in Yemen, you've got troops in Somalia, you've got troops in Syria, still a residual force. So they're all over. And I just want the big engagements to end. I want the big wars to end. I don't think war is in our interest in the Middle East, but, I'm not one of these people that'll say, if there's 10 guys in Kuwait, that the president's a neocon. Because some people are like that. They'll say, if we leave a residual force, it's neocon. I mean, I'm a believer that America's a sprawling empire. We have interests around the globe and we should protect them, but not like this, not two ground wars at the same time, which, the countries that we're going to leave will end up worse than they were before we got there. So that kind of stuff to me is just folly. But to have some presence, I think that's doable.
Yeah, I feel like the political spectrum is almost a circle where I'm almost the opposite end as you, but I almost 100% agree with you on that. So
well,
always able to find common ground.
Totally. That's where you get the Republican and Dem establishments are, they're the ones that are wrong on this.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
You're good.
So what are your thoughts on Nazi Germany?
What?
Not a fan. Not a fan. Why? Do you think I'm a Nazi? Is that
No. I wanted your specific thoughts on specifically the scientific experiments that German scientists were instructed to do during World War II.
Well, I will say that there is a lot of nonsense floating around there. Like I said, not a denier, but we can all agree that this lampshades and bars of soap business, bunch of bullshit. Okay, I mean, like if you read some of these like diaries or personal accounts, and I don't know if you guys want to look into this, but they make these ridiculous claims. Like there was one claim, and this was, by the way, like the Nuremberg trials. So this is not like I'm pulling this out of my ass. This was in the Nuremberg trials when they're trying the Nazis for war crimes. You had a guy that claimed that they would electrify the floors to kill people. They would electrify the floor. They had people that said that they would use carbon monoxide to kill people by running like gas engines. And the narrative is that it was Zyklon or whatever, but it wasn't carbon monoxide engines. That doesn't make any sense. They would say that they would be ushered into like death chambers, get haircuts, then get the hair removed to make beds for Germans, move the people out, clean up the rooms, move them back in, then kill them. I think there's a lot of stuff that's clearly atrocity propaganda. You see this in any war, in any time. There's atrocity propaganda where they try and really make it heavy-handed to guilt people and to bring down the hammer on the transgressing country. But obviously I'm against genocide or human experimentation. I mean, I'm against things that are evil, but I like every Holocaust survivor said that they were experimented on by Mengele. Like every single one, the Nazi doctor. And it's like, definitely he existed and definitely did terrible things, but not every one of them saw that guy. Like, clearly there's some fibbing going on. So I would say that I'm against atrocities. I'm a decent person. I'm Christian. I don't think genocide is good. Murder, state systematic murder. I don't know, not down with that or experimentation, but I do think, there's a lot of stuff, electric floors, lampshades, that kind of stuff. I think we can all agree that's pretty silly.
Nick Fuentes is absolutely right when he says that Israel has never been a true ally to the United States. For decades, the Washington establishment has pushed the narrative that supporting Israel unconditionally is in America's national interest, but the evidence proves otherwise. Donald Trump moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, designated the IRGC as a terrorist organization, and gave Benjamin Netanyahu everything he asked for. And what did Israel do in return? They immediately expanded illegal settlements at the fastest rate in history, directly defying Trump's explicit request to stop. They conducted unauthorized airstrikes in Syria and Iraq, creating dangerous tensions with Iran that put American troops at risk. On top of that, there were multiple Israeli spying scandals targeting the White House itself. This is not how a genuine ally behaves. The reality is that the US-Israel relationship is completely one-sided. America sends billions of taxpayer dollars in foreign aid every single year, while Israel constantly undermines US foreign policy in the Middle East. The Israeli lobby has such a crushing grip on American politics that any politician who dares to question this arrangement faces instant career destruction. That is not an alliance, that is manipulation.